Welcome to our latest Manchester United transfer news update. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more exclusive Manchester United transfer news. Ineos must sell Man United dud, who is one of Europe's most exciting talents. Manchester United's transfer business over the past couple of years will have left much to be desired after the lack of impact made by those walking through the doors at Old Trafford. £600 million alone was spent over the last couple of years during Erik ten Hag's reign as manager, with the Dutchman undoubtedly wasting a huge amount of money on players not up to the standard of the Premier League. Casemiro and Joshua Zirkzee are just two of many who have failed to catch the eye after their respective £70 million and £36 million moves to join the Red Devils. However, sides like Brighton have demonstrated that you don't need huge transfer fees to become a competitive top-flight outfit, with their transfer business up there with some of the very best in Europe. There's no denying that a clear-out is needed during January, leaving new boss Ruben Amorim and the Ineos hierarchy with numerous big calls to make surrounding the future of some players. Amorim's transfer calls ahead of January. Following his appointment a couple of weeks ago, current boss Amorim has already tried to implement his 3-4-2-1 system during his opening 2 games in charge, looking to push United back towards the top of the table. The 39-year-old has already spoken about how impressed he has been with Mason Mount, handing the former Chelsea ace his first start of his reign against Bodo/Glimt on Thursday night. It will take time for the £60 million man to settle following a tricky period with injuries, but given his time playing the system at Chelsea, he could be a very useful asset to the new United boss. However, on the other hand, there are various players who could be edging closer to the exit door, with the aforementioned Casemiro just one player who could be moved on. Harry Maguire is another name who could be offloaded during the upcoming window, as the club look to cut their losses on the centre-back who cost them a staggering £80 million in the summer of 2019. He's previously been of interest from the likes of West Ham United, but given his recent injury and fitness issues, coupled with his contract which is set to expire in the summer, it may present the last opportunity to make any money back on their mammoth investment. However, one player must be top of the departure list, potentially bringing his dismal time at Old Trafford to an end. The player who needs to be sold from Old Trafford. Brazilian winger Antony certainly raised eyebrows when he followed in the footsteps of Ten Hag, swapping Ajax for Manchester, costing the Red Devils £86 million, the second highest fee paid in the club's history. Undoubtedly, such a fee would inject excitement into the fanbase, but his time at Old Trafford has been nothing short of a disaster, looking well below the level expected of such a big-money signing. During his time in the Northwest, the 24-year-old has made 88 appearances, scoring just 12 times and costing the club £975,000 every time he's made an appearance to date. Amorim's appointment has even seen him feature in a right wing-back role in Thursday's Europa League clash, trying to prove football director John Murdo right, after he dubbed the Brazilian one of the most exciting young talents in European football, following his arrival in Manchester back in 2022. However, he was unable to do so, losing possession 12 times and only winning 50% of his duels, before being replaced just an hour into the encounter in Manchester. Antony has proven with his goal-scoring record that he doesn't have the ability to be a real threat in attacking areas, unlikely to dislodge the likes of Amad Diallo, Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford from the attacking roles behind the striker. He also pockets a huge £200,000 per week wage at the club, with the hierarchy desperately needing to cut their losses in January and allow him to move on to try and reignite his once promising career in Europe. There's no chance that United will be able to receive a fee close to what they paid for his services in the summer of 2022. But Ineos need to pull the trigger and allow him to leave before his value plummets further, having reportedly told the winger that he can depart in the new year. With January coming up and Amorim set to be handed the chance to improve his squad, the deal to sign the Brazilian must be used as a reminder that just because you spend big doesn't guarantee success, needing to make smart moves to help the new boss make the progression he desires. Manchester United history is about to repeat itself with £72 million player, and it's good news. Rasmus Højlund scored a brace in the Europa League on Thursday night and he must kick on after that display. Just as Rasmus Højlund found his stride last season, he picked an injury that disrupted his rhythm. Hodgland sustained a muscle injury against Luton Town on February 18th, and confirmation that he was facing a few weeks on the sidelines came after he scored 7 goals in 6 games. The young striker scored in successive games against Tottenham, Newport County, Wolves, West Ham, Aston Villa and Luton, but actually turned a corner before that run of games. Hodgland had no problem scoring in the Champions League group stage, impressively scoring 5 times in Europe, but he had to wait until December to score his first goal in the Premier League, finally getting that monkey off his back when scoring a brace against Villa on Boxing Day. During the period that Hodgland hadn't scored in the league, he played it down, but he was clearly relieved when he got off the mark. Shortly afterwards, Hodgland enjoyed a purple patch, and United's unbeaten streak suddenly ended in the first game that he was unavailable with injury. That didn't feel like a coincidence. Although Hodgland didn't return from his injury in the same vein of form, and Bruno Fernandes started as the false 9 in the FA Cup final at Wembley. It was a disappointing end to the campaign for Hodgland, who subsequently struggled for Denmark at Euro 2024 and picked up a hamstring injury in his first appearance of pre-season. Hodgland made his comeback against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park in September. He later scored against FC Porto and Brentford, but he was beginning to look like a player whose confidence was suffering, and that's why it was so great to see him net a brace in the Europe League on Thursday night. Alejandro Garnacho scored the opening goal against Bodo/Glimt, but Hodgland created it with his aggressive pressing, and his equalizer on the stroke of halftime was brilliantly taken. Hodgland's touch to control Noussair Mazraoui's cross was superb, and the finish was even better. It was a tremendous goal from a technical perspective, and his second goal was a proper striker's goal, with Hodgland sweeping home Mason Mount's low, driven cross from close range. The smile was back on Hodgland's face when he spoke to MUTV to reflect on the performance, and he described his match winner in the second half as the perfect Rasmus Hodgland goal. There is now a strong case for Hodgland to retain his starting role against Everton this weekend, and history has a tendency to repeat itself, so he could be on the verge of a purple patch again. Confidence is crucial in elite sport, and strikers can be streaky creatures who go on a prolific run after a strong performance, just like Hodgland did at the start of the year. After scoring a brace on Boxing Day, Hodgland exploded into life, and perhaps lightning could strike twice. Ruben Amorim said about Hodgland in his press conference, "I think he improved the connection. I think he has to improve more because sometimes he gives too many touches when he holds the ball. But he's really important for us because when we are in the low block, he is the guy to hold the ball, to connect for transitions. He did that very well, and he has that characteristic. He was aggressive in the goals, he was aggressive in the box, and he is a quality player. I think he scores the most difficult goals, so he has a lot to improve. Is the same for every player, but he did a great job." Hodgland said when conducting his media duties that Amorim's system suits him because he played in a similar formation with Atlanta, and the pair could develop a healthy marriage. United need Hodgland to score regularly, and it feels like he's about to turn a corner again. Man United news. Red Devils I next Mo Salah as Marcus Rashford demand issued. Ruben Amorim finally has his first win as Manchester United boss, and it already appears that he is putting thought into the Red Devils' upcoming January transfer window. Manchester United will be aiming to make it back-to-back wins under Ruben Amorim this weekend. The Portuguese coach earned his first victory as Red Devils boss midweek. United sealed a 3-2 victory after coming from behind against Bodo/Glimt at Old Trafford. Having been held by Ipswich in his debut Premier League game, Amorim now has a chance to seal his first league win. They welcome Everton to Old Trafford on Sunday. And while the new manager will be keen to focus on his Premier League commitments, he already appears to be putting thought into the upcoming transfer window. With all that said, take a look at the latest news from Old Trafford. Next Salah scouting mission. Manchester United conducted a scouting mission in midweek as they aim to add to their attacking options. The Red Devils have been linked with a move for Eintracht Frankfurt star Omar Marmush. And according to Tipsbladet, United scouts were watching him during the German side's Europa League clash with Midtjylland. Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, Tottenham, Borussia Mönchengladbach, Villarreal and FC Köln were all scouting him. Marmush shone once again with a goal and an assist. It is just the latest standout performance across a season in which he has scored 15 goals and notched 11 assists in all competitions. Who should Man United sign in January? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Rashford improvement demanded. Amid their interest in Marmish, Marcus Rashford has been told to improve on 3 things. Ex-Liverpool star Mark Lawrenson said, "For Rashford, he doesn't look like the same player he used to be, and I have no idea why. I'm sure Manchester United are trying everything for him, but he doesn't look as quick as he used to. His finishing isn't the same and his overall attitude doesn't seem positive." The problem for Amorim is that his other 2 strikers, Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, don't seem ready. So he had no choice but to play Rashford through the middle. Now the manager has seen 1 game, he'll have a better idea of some of the problems. So it's now his job to fix it, but he needs to get Rashford firing. Red Devils could hand City millions. On the topic of forwards, United could be set to hand rivals Man City millions if they sign one of their other targets. Reports have claimed that the Red Devils are keeping a close eye on Ipswich forward Liam Delap. It is suggested that City inserted a 20% sell-on clause into the deal that took him to Portman Road. Pep Guardiola's side also have first refusal should they want to sign him back. Delap has shown for Ipswich so far this season. The 21-year-old has scored 6 goals in 12 Premier League appearances. Ruben Amorim confirms new plan for Antony after Man United transfer stance comes to light. Manchester United could cut their losses on £82 million signing Antony in January, but he'll have time to impress new manager Ruben Amorim by playing in a new position. Antony is in the last chance saloon at Manchester United, with boss Ruben Amorim set to play the £82 million signing at wingback ahead of a decisive January transfer window. Having endured an increasingly difficult 2.5 years at Old Trafford, Antony started new manager Amorim's first home game in charge. United claimed a nervy 3-2 win over Bodo/Glimt in the Europa League, having fallen behind to the Norwegian champions. The Red Devils lined up in Amorim's preferred 3-4-3 formation, with Antony and Tyrell Malacia employed as the 2 wingbacks. It was a new role for the former Ajax winger, who's reportedly been made available for transfer in January. But Amorim was seemingly impressed by his performance, and in good news for Antony, he'll still get to act as a winger in different phases of the game. Discussing the 24-year-old's display alongside that of substitute Ahmad, the United boss explained, "Today, Ahmad and Antony, they acted like a winger, and they stay open. What I want is a good 1-against-1 to open the field, to play, to close the field when we lose the ball. And it is the same in every team. I think the structure is more fluid than you guys think with the 3 defenders." Amorim, who was successful using a 3-4-3 formation at Sporting Lisbon, added, "Today, we finished today without any centre-backs, so it was Case Moreau, Nussair Mazraoui and Luke Shaw. I think it is more the characteristics of the players and not the real positions of the players. Today, if I ask you guys what system I use, you saw more 4-4-2, when we were defending, I think? You agree? Then we put 2 wide players like the other 20 teams in the league. You have to change the characteristics. Will Antony turn his Manchester United career around under Ruben Amorim? Have your say in the comments section." After scoring just 11 goals in his first 2 seasons, the Brazilian explained how the 2024-25 season could be a fresh start. During an interview with The Telegraph in which he referenced allegations of domestic violence made by his ex-girlfriend, Antony declared, "I'm someone who demands a lot of myself, and I was obviously not satisfied with my season, but a lot happened over the year in my personal life. Like it or not, everything I went through had an effect on the pitch. Everything I went through was very difficult for me and all my family. I've learnt from it all, I've grown and matured. I believe I learnt a lot from the adversity. I learn from everything I go through. That's why I said I put the past behind me. I matured and grew from it all, and this will make me stronger going into this new season.